Sometimes we tend to say yes even when we don't mean it. Have you ever found yourself saying yes when you really wanted to say no? Or maybe you've struggled to speak up for yourself even when you knew you were being treated unfairly? Do you agree to something you didn't really want to do just to avoid conflict or please others? Or maybe you've struggled to speak up for yourself even when you knew you were being treated unfairly. If so, you're not alone. Many of us have difficulty being assertive and setting healthy boundaries in our personal and professional lives. But why is it so hard to be assertive? Is it fear of conflict or rejection, lack of self-confidence, or perhaps we've been conditioned to prioritize others' needs over our own? Whatever the reasons, the inability to assert ourselves can lead to resentment, burnout, and even damaged relationships. But there's hope. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers timeless wisdom and practical strategies for cultivating assertiveness and establishing boundaries that align with our values and self-respect. In this video, we'll explore the Stoic principles that can empower you to communicate with confidence, set clear boundaries, and live with greater authenticity and inner peace. Let's start with understanding assertiveness. Assertiveness is the ability to express your thoughts, feelings, and needs in a confident and respectful manner. It is about standing up for yourself while still considering the rights and needs of others. Crucially, assertiveness is distinct from aggression and passivity. On the other side, we have aggression. Never confuse yourself between assertiveness and aggression. Aggression involves violating the rights of others through hostile, confrontational behavior, like making demands, criticizing, or intimidating. An aggressive person may get what they want in the short term, but at the expense of damaging relationships and their reputation. For instance, imagine your coworker frequently shows up late to your team meetings. An aggressive response would be publicly calling them out and shaming them for their lack of professionalism. A passive response would be staying silent and letting their tardiness disrupt the meeting without saying anything. An assertive approach, however, would be pulling them aside after the meeting and saying something like, "I've noticed you've been coming late to our team meetings recently. I understand. Things come up, but it's disruptive when we have to wait to get started. Could we agree on being there a few minutes early so we can begin on time?" This allows you to address the issue directly while still being respectful. On the other end of the spectrum, passivity means failing to express your authentic needs and wants. Passive individuals tend to avoid conflict by suppressing their feelings, acquiescing to others' demands, and prioritizing others' needs over their own. While this may preserve temporary harmony, it breeds resentment and a lack of self-respect long-term. For example, imagine you and your friend are trying to decide what restaurant to go to for dinner. You really want to try the new vegan place, but your friend suggests the usual burger joint you always go to. A passive approach would be to just go along with their suggestion, even though it's not what you really want. You suppress your own desire to keep the peace and avoid any disagreement or conflict. In the moment, this preserves harmony between you and your friend. However, over time, constantly putting your friend's preferences first and not speaking up for your own needs breeds internal resentment towards them. You start to lose self-respect for failing to honor your authentic wants and interests. Both extremes of passivity and aggression carry heavy costs. Chronic passivity prevents us from having our basic needs met and causes anger to build up over time. We may become a doormat for others' inconsiderate behavior and lose our sense of self-respect. Aggression may allow us to get our way in the moment, but it damages relationships and our reputation long-term. We come across as unreasonable, disrespectful, and uncaring towards others' needs. Aggression often stems from a lack of self-control and insecurity. Assertiveness allows us to avoid these pitfalls by standing up for ourselves while still being considerate of others. We can state our position confidently without denigrating others. We aim to find a mutual compromise instead of winning at all costs or surrendering our needs entirely. Assertiveness preserves our self-respect and key relationships. Assertiveness strikes a healthy balance. It allows you to advocate for your legitimate interests while still respecting the rights and dignity of others. An assertive person states their needs clearly but remains open to compromise. They aim for a win-win solution rather than dominating or subjugating themselves. Another important aspect of assertiveness is setting healthy boundaries in relationships. Boundaries are the limits we set to define what we find acceptable or unacceptable in our relationships with others. They specify how we want to be treated and what behaviors we will or won't tolerate. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, mental, or involve our time and energy. When we don't uphold our boundaries, we allow others to overstep our limits without consequence. This can lead to feelings of anger, resentment, and even violation. On the other hand, communicating our boundaries with assertiveness fosters mutual understanding, trust, and respect. Perhaps most importantly, boundaries protect our sense of identity and self-worth. Having firm boundaries means we don't compromise our values or integrity to please others. It allows us to honor our authentic needs instead of contorting ourselves to gain approval. Strong boundaries are an act of self-love. The Stoic philosophy provides a powerful framework for cultivating assertiveness and healthy boundaries with 6 key principles. 1. Self-control is one of the cardinal virtues in Stoic philosophy. It refers to the ability to manage our emotional impulses and natural urges through rational judgment and conscious willpower. The Stoics believed that while we cannot always control external circumstances, we can control our internal responses to them through self-discipline. In the context of assertiveness, self-control plays a vital role in allowing us to express ourselves calmly, rationally, and effectively instead of being hijacked by intense emotions like anger, fear, or hurt. When we lack self-control, we are more prone to either suppressing our needs entirely, passive response, or lashing out aggressively due to heated feelings. However, with strong self-control, we can take a pause and observe our impulses and emotions with greater objectivity before responding. We create space to reflect and choose an assertive communication style aligned with our values rather than simply reacting. Self-control provides the restraint to articulate our perspective respectfully yet firmly. The Stoics used various mental techniques to strengthen self-control over impulses. One was negative visualization, vividly contemplating potential future misfortunes to reduce their sting if they occurred. This aided in not being blindsided by intense emotions. Another was consciously delaying gratification of urges and desires, building the muscle of willpower over time. Additionally, the Stoics emphasized separating what is within our control from external events beyond our influence. We cannot control others' behavior, but we can control how we respond to it. Self-control allows us to respond to others' potential disrespect or conflict with assertiveness rather than aggression. Ultimately, self-control rooted in rationality prevents us from being swept up in the heat of the moment and acting in ways incongruent with our principles. It enables measured yet confident communication of our needs and boundaries without resorting to ineffective outbursts or meek surrender. Self-control is critical for assertiveness to be constructive rather than combative. 2. Rationality. Rationality was revered by the Stoics as the means to perceive reality clearly and act with wisdom. It involves using logic, reason, and objectivity to analyze situations rather than being misled by faulty assumptions, emotions, or social pressures. In the context of assertiveness, rationality means preventing cognitive distortions that can trigger passive or aggressive overreactions. Our minds are experts at creating narratives and stories that justify residing at the extremes rather than the balanced middle path of assertiveness. For example, catastrophizing leads to aggression. They disrespected me, so I must attack to protect my honor. Self-deprecation breeds passivity. I don't deserve to voice my needs. Rationality allows us to identify and counter these distortions with factual evidence and more balanced perspectives. The Stoics practiced separating fact from opinion, emotion from reality. This sharpened their ability to see situations impartially and respond in alignment with reason rather than being buffeted by transient feelings or hasty judgments. Assertiveness requires confidently articulating one's truth while considering others' perspectives rationally. Moreover, rationality combats socially conditioned biases that promote passive or aggressive tendencies. We may have unhelpful beliefs like being agreeable avoids conflict or dominance gets respect. Questioning such assumptions rationally allows for more nuanced assertive behavior. By engaging our rational faculties, we can reframe confrontations as opportunities to find mutually beneficial solutions through respectful dialogue, the heart of assertiveness. Emotions arise, but we don't have to be enslaved by them. Clear reasoning keeps us anchored in assertive self-expression. 3. Virtue. Virtue was considered the highest ideal in Stoic philosophy, the sole and sufficient source of human well-being and flourishing. The Stoics outlined 4 cardinal virtues: courage, justice, temperance, self-control, and wisdom, prudence. Assertiveness can be viewed as an outward expression of these inner virtues. It requires courage to speak up for oneself respectfully, yet firmly, especially in situations where there may be pushback or disapproval. Cowering in fear or lashing out in anger would be paths of lesser courage. Justice is about rendering to each person what is rightly due to them. Being assertive ensures we advocate for our own fair treatment while still upholding justice and respect for the legitimate rights of others. Pure selfishness seeks to dominate. Assertiveness finds the balanced, virtuous mean. Temperance and self-control allow for assertive expression while regulating potential emotional excesses leading to aggression or passivity. Steadfast self-discipline characterizes confident yet composed assertion of one's needs. Finally, wisdom and prudence guide how to apply assertiveness skillfully in each unique context. A wise person analyzes situations rationally and responds with well-calibrated assertiveness, neither meekly passive nor overbearingly aggressive. For the Stoics, virtue was not mere ethical theory, but a lived practice of behaving rightly according to our core human nature and values. Assertiveness flows from this wellspring of virtue and authentically embodies its essence. It treats both oneself and others with fairness, dignity, and respect. Conversely, the Stoics viewed vices like arrogance, insecurity, wrath, fear, and lack of self-control as obstacles to virtue. These tendencies breed either aggressive domination, disrespecting others, or passive suppression, disrespecting the self. Neither aligns with virtuous assertiveness. 4. Self-acceptance. Self-acceptance involves embracing all parts of ourselves, our strengths, weaknesses, hopes, fears, and idiosyncrasies, with compassion rather than harsh self-judgment. It means making peace with who we are at our core, beyond social pressures to be a certain way. In the context of assertiveness, self-acceptance fosters the self-confidence and self-respect required for authentic self-expression. Those lacking self-acceptance tend to either suppress their true needs out of shame, passivity, or overcompensate through arrogance and entitlement, aggression. When we accept ourselves fully, we no longer feel compelled to conform to others' expectations at the cost of denying our own wants and boundaries, nor do we need to prove our self-worth through domineering attitudes and disregarding others. Self-acceptance allows us to say with conviction, "This is who I am and what I need." The Stoics emphasized self-acceptance by distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. Our infinite self-judgments about not being good enough stem from concerns outside our control, like others' opinions or societal ideals. True self-acceptance focuses on upholding our principles and efforts, which we do control. Moreover, the Stoics saw our unique personalities and experiences as providential, not flaws to be overcome, but gifts to be embraced. This philosophy promotes self-compassion for our human imperfections rather than brutal self-criticism, which erodes assertiveness. With self-acceptance, we realize our inherent worth is not contingent on pleasing everyone or portraying an idealized image. We have the courage to be true to ourselves respectfully. Our boundaries flow naturally from that grounded sense of self rather than insecurity. Assertiveness without self-acceptance becomes approval-seeking or knee-jerk defiance. True assertiveness harmonizes our thoughts, feelings, words, and actions into an integrated, congruent expression of our authentic selves. It emanates from the quiet confidence of one at peace with who they are. 5. Resilience. Resilience refers to the ability to effectively cope with and bounce back from adversity, challenges, and sources of stress. It's the quality that provides the emotional fortitude to persevere through difficulties instead of becoming overwhelmed or giving up. In the context of assertiveness, resilience plays a vital role in enabling us to assertively uphold our boundaries and needs, even in the face of pushback, criticism, or challenging circumstances that might typically trigger passive or aggressive responses. Those lacking resilience may cave to others' pressures to avoid conflict, passivity, or lash out defensively when faced with resistance, aggression. Resilience allows us to stay firmly rooted in assertive self-expression. The Stoics viewed resilience as emergent from a strong philosophical framework that provided perspective on negative events. By accepting what we can and cannot control, we become less resistant and better able to adapt. We don't crumble at passing misfortunes beyond our influence. This resilient mindset prevents us from getting derailed from assertiveness by temporary setbacks or criticism. We can stay focused on rationally communicating our truth without lapsing into wounded reactivity or self-doubt. Additionally, Stoic practices like negative visualization, vividly contemplating potential future hardships, cultivated resilience by reducing their psychological sting if manifested. Obstacles that trigger others into aggression or passivity have less power over those prepared by such foresight. Moreover, the Stoics emphasized our ability to always start again from a centered, virtuous state through applied reason and willpower. Even if we temporarily falter from assertiveness in one case, resilient self-discipline allows us to recalibrate and reassert ourselves. Assertiveness requires persistence, especially when handled inappropriately by others, be it disrespect, dismissal, or antagonism. Resilience provides the psychological toughness to weather those storms while staying the assertive course. It's the strength to champion our truths without being cowed or provoked into losing our resolve. 6. Mindfulness involves cultivating a heightened awareness and attention to the present moment. It means observing our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations with an attitude of openness and non-judgment as they arise. Mindfulness is the opposite of operating on autopilot or mindless reactivity. In the context of assertiveness, mindfulness plays a crucial role in enabling us to respond to situations intentionally and thoughtfully, rather than being hijacked by impulsive reactions that may manifest as aggression or passivity. Those lacking mindfulness tend to get caught up in their knee-jerk emotional responses, losing touch with their truer, deeper needs and values in the heat of the moment. This can result in passive people-pleasing to avoid discomfort or aggressive lashing out from fear and anger. Mindfulness creates a pause between the stimulus, someone's words or actions, and our response. In that pause, we can observe our bodily sensations of tension or triggered thoughts with objectivity. We don't immediately react from those first impulses. Instead, we gain awareness of the deeper needs and boundaries underlying our rising emotions. We can then choose to respond with an assertive communication that actually addresses those authentic needs faithfully. The Stoics highly valued this ability to separate the impression or perception of an event from the actual event itself. By not getting hooked on those initial impressions, we free ourselves to respond with reason rather than blind reactivity. Moreover, mindfulness makes us more attuned to subtle cues in conversations that may provoke more aggressive or passive tendencies if we're not conscious of them. We can catch ourselves sooner before slipping into harmful patterns. With mindful presence, we have the choice and intentionality to assert ourselves respectfully. Aggression and passivity both stem from mindless, unexamined impulses. Assertiveness aligns words and actions with our authentic values through present-moment awareness. In essence, mindfulness allows us to pause, witness what's arising within us, and respond from a place of truth instead of blind conditioning. It's a foundational practice for thoughtful, grounded assertiveness. You now have a powerful framework to cultivate assertiveness and healthy boundaries using timeless Stoic wisdom. Implement these strategies consistently, and you'll experience profound personal growth and more authentic relationships. Don't let fear, insecurity, or conditioning hold you back. Embrace your truth confidently yet compassionately. Make a commitment to developing self-control rationality, virtue, self-acceptance, resilience, and mindfulness. These virtues are the bedrock for assertive self-expression. Start applying just one principle today and see the positive changes it unleashes. If this message resonates, subscribe to this channel and share this video with others who could benefit. Together, we can create a world of greater respect, understanding, and empowered living through assertiveness. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If this journey into the Stoic philosophy has enriched your understanding or aided your personal growth, please consider giving this video a like to assist others in finding these teachings. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the profound world of Stoicism. We deeply value your presence in our community and look forward to continuing this enlightening journey together. Until next time, keep walking the path of wisdom.